Welcome back and how's it going everybody? In today's video we're going to be covering the final boss of Let It Die. Out of every boss that I've covered so far, this one is hands down my favorite. It has amazing music, interesting attacks, it's just a really great fight. So a quick thing to note before we get into this, anything you had equipped on you before the fight begins or before you get into the arena is going to be what you use to defeat Cohen. To start with, you're going to have to fight 3 haters back to back, all on this raised pedestal, one at a time. Now, I cannot stress enough how important it is to not fall off of this thing. If you happen to fall off of this, not only are there pretty hilarious sumo hands that will slap you away from the arena, but there are multiple fireball AoEs that will fall from the sky and kill you. The next 2 haters are going to be carrying your equipment that you had slotted on you before the fight. Each time you kill one, you need to recover your gear as fast as possible, but make sure to use the quick equip option instead of the store it away because you probably won't have enough time to actually go through your inventory and equip it manually. It is safe to rush out there and retrieve your gear if the character did die from the fireballs, because once you pick up your gear it'll teleport you back up to the top. After you kill this next hater you'll have to fight Cohen, but luckily this is a version of Cohen that has severely reduced health. As soon as he shows up, immediately start attacking him. The sonar takes a while for him to recover from, as well as pulling the bodies out in that whole animation sequence. With any luck, you'll be able to kill him before he can do anything. If not, you'll at least be able to take out, I'm gonna guesstimate, half of his entire health bar. After you kill Cohen, a chest will spawn, containing all the gear and items you had before the fight. Once you pop this chest is when the real fight begins. This boss shares a lot of the same moves as U10, but he has plenty of new moves as well that you'll have to learn to stay alive. Nearly everything that he does will do tremendous damage if it hits you. The first move we're going to cover is his Impalement Attack. Whenever the boss rears back like he is now, he's going to charge forwards, and if he hits you, he's going to impale you with that spike on the front of his head. This is probably one of his easiest moves to actually punish, and it can be avoided simply by sprinting left or right. The next few moves you're going to see are going to be the same as U10's. Just approach them the exact same way you would with U10. For tail bury, cover the distance. For tail sweep, jump over then punish. For tail overhead, just simply move left or right of it. He does have a slam like U10's, but when he jumps, you're going to want to jump right before he hits the ground to avoid the seismic wave that comes out. If you jump early, you're most likely going to eat the seismic wave on accident, and it hurts decently bad. The next new move you're about to see is his charge attack. He'll emit a blue aura around his body and then come barreling at you. When you see this attack, you're going to want to roll inwards just a little bit before he gets to you in order to avoid it. This move will change up a bit in phase 2, which we'll cover later on. Once you've knocked off 1/3 of the boss's health, he'll move into phase 2. He will do an animation signaling that he's going into phase 2, but it's very subtle. He'll just kind of writhe around. You'll see it for a brief second once he gets up from this charge. Just like U10, when you inflict enough damage upon him, he'll fall into a vulnerable state. When he does, you want to get in as much damage as you possibly can before he recovers. What we're about to cover next is his cannon attack. Typically before he does it, he'll always fire 3 large patches of ice at the player that will freeze you in place but not actually do any damage to you. Wiggling your left analog stick as well as pressing dodge rapidly can help you break free almost immediately. Most likely you'll get clipped by the beam on the way out due to breaking out of the ice, but don't worry as the beam does very little damage. It's meant to basically punish players for not wiggling out of the ice. For his charge attacks in phase 2, you want to try to track his movements as best you can this time. He'll often stop and redirect himself in the middle of his charge. When he does this, you want to position yourself pretty close to where he last redirected. This allows you to be basically in the eye of the storm. It can be difficult to track and reposition, but for the most part this move isn't that bad. Touching a little bit more on the boss's ice AoE attack, if the puddles do not freeze you, they'll actually stay up for quite a while. If you're at a distance, it's more often than not better just to let it freeze you, that way you don't have to deal with maneuvering around it during the fight. The worst that'll come out of it is you'll get tapped by the beam for a small amount of damage. Once you've dealt enough damage in phase 2, you'll get a second vulnerability phase. This will be pretty close to the end of the fight, so anything that you throw out, you want to make it count in that situation. There was one move that I did not get to cover in this video segment, which we'll quickly cover in the second one once we get to it. It's the boss's fireball cannon attack. This move has the same animation as the ice AoE attack, but the way to distinguish the two of them is the boss will always say Doskoi before the fireball attack. This move will fire 4 times. The way to avoid it is to sprint left, right, changing direction exactly when the fireball fires. You cannot stop sprinting while you're doing this, otherwise the tracking will catch you. I've slowed down the footage a bit on the next segment just to give you a good idea of how tight the timing is on when you have to change direction. Closing notes of this fight, it is the final boss, so you need to be very well prepared before you enter this fight. He does have a lot of health. As long as you come prepared though, you'll be just fine. And that's pretty much all there is to this fight. Thanks so much for all the support and tuning in, guys. I really do appreciate it.
Congratulations! Let me snap a photo to commemorate your 4th large stamp.
No way! You gotta be kidding me! I never thought you'd make it this far, dude. Ah!